So if you enjoy playing No Man's Sky in VR, some mech games like Space Docker, but you're not a fan of those virtual HOTAS controls that are in some of those games, then you can probably consider something like this. This is something that I've been sent. This is the ProTube ProTAS controllers, where they're basically grips, expanded grips for motion controllers. This is the Quest version, but you can also get adapters like this for the PSVR 2 version as well, and any other basically motion controllers that are out there really. You can get them in singles or you can get them in pairs as well. So I've been sent a couple of these just to give a try, and what they do is, so you connect these to your seat or your desk. They've got a sticky pad on the bottom if you want to connect it directly to your desk, or you've got these Velcro straps if you've got arms on your chairs that you can connect them to as well. Generally, I've been using these with the sticky pads connected on my desk, and they do a great job, but the idea is that you've still got full access to the motion controllers. So they've got this where you've got a fixed block where you have sort of some kind of tactile feedback with the flight controls in the game that you try in. And I've used this a lot with No Man's Sky, actually. I've been testing these with No Man's Sky and Space Docker, and you do get that tactile feedback. They're very good, but they've also got this magnetic clip as well. So you can, it's a very strong magnet. So you have to have quite a sharp movement, and then you can release them, and then you can use them for manipulating other stuff. Like in No Man's Sky, if you're not in your spaceship anymore, you can just wander around and use them as normal motion controllers, then slot them back on, and then you're back into flying the ship. So that's the idea behind them anyway. I've been using them with a pair, so I've been trying them with a pair. It's not always been successful though. So the first game I went into with these ones I really wanted to try was of course No Man's Sky, and I set them up so I had these, you have them positioned vertically like this. Now in No Man's Sky, for anybody that plays that, the throttle in No Man's Sky is actually positioned to its side, and although on the right hand side where I'm using the flight stick in No Man's Sky, that was absolutely flawless. I could connect that and it felt great. I did have to increase the flight sensitivity in game to 100% to where it felt right, because I'd previously lowered that down when I was just using motion controls in sort of free air in front of me, if you get me. But when you're using them with these, I found that increasing the sensitivity made it better, and the flight stick worked perfectly. I just couldn't get it to work quite so well with the throttle. It would still work, but I guess it's something to do with the position of the throttle in No Man's Sky and how it's oriented. It didn't work quite so well. However, when I went into the mech in No Man's Sky, then they are positioned, both of those sticks in the mech in that game are positioned vertically, and it was absolutely flawless then in that as well. So they've got their uses for certain things. And also when I went into Space Docker, another game where both the sticks, both the flight sticks are positioned vertically in front of you, so you've got like one-to-one motion controls really with how it appears in the game. And when I was using that, it was more or less flawless as well. I did have a little bit of a problem with the throttle side for some reason, but I think that was something to do with the setup of the game itself. So yeah, just in two initial tests with this, I found that I wanted to use the flight stick in No Man's Sky far more than I wanted to use the throttle side, at least in the spaceship. But I did still set them both up, and what I did was I'd have the flight stick in the spaceship that I would use. Then when I got out the spaceship, I would just disconnect these from the magnets, wander around on the planet, use motion controls as normal within that game, and then if I wanted to get into the mech, then I would attach them both to the mech, the controls here, in order to control the mech, and that would work perfectly. But when I'm in the spaceship, I simply don't connect the left side, just because I couldn't get good enough performance with that. It wasn't reliable enough really when connected to this for some reason. And so generally what I'd do is I'd just disconnect that and then have the throttle floating in free air in front of me, and then I'd use the flight stick connected to the base. And there might be something that I'm able to do in order to make this work a little bit better with that aspect in No Man's Sky. I'm not too sure, because you've got limited adjustments that you can make with this. You can't really adjust it so it's got it's sort of always in that position. I mean, you could use it in that position and sort of rotate it like that, but when I did that in No Man's Sky with the throttle, it didn't really pick it up effectively. That's all I'm saying. So a little bit of adjustment, a little bit of fine-tuning needed for that really, I think. But I was quite happy, if I was going to get this purely for the spaceship in No Man's Sky, I'm quite happy just to pick up the right side, so just for the flight stick, and then just have the throttle sort of floating as it usually is in No Man's Sky anyway. So that's the way I'd use it. The construction of these is very good though. There's parts that look to be 3D printed with various materials, and this has got like a very sturdy, very solid 3D printed material, it seems, that is rubberized, and then you can, it's got enough feedback to make it feel authentic to a proper HOTAS stick, I would say. Heavy duty, there's no issues with it at all. You've also got these, I believe these are optional. These are just the sort of Velcro straps to go around your hands like on the index controllers, really. They work in a similar way. Although I do find, you notice here, I've got my top finger out of that strap because it doesn't orientate properly if I put all my fingers inside. So I've got the Quest 3 controllers in here at the minute, but when I'm using all fingers in that strap, it's just not right. It's not in the right position for this. So what I assume like the intended use is to have 3 fingers in there, then the top one out, and then everything is positioned correctly. And yeah, works great like that. So everything feels really durable, heavy duty. So really there's not too much more to say on these. They're very effective for certain types of games if you're not a fan of using floating virtual HOTAS controls. And I'm really not. I tolerate it in something like No Man's Sky just because I've got limited choices in that anyway. And these are giving me an extra bit of a choice, I suppose. And in No Man's Sky, truth be told, because I don't really go in the mech too often anyway, I would just pick up, personally, if I was to buy these, I would just pick up the right side for the flight stick and use that one. But if you're using in other games like Space Docker, then both sides are probably essential if you do want to use motion controllers with that. And also there's going to be some certain VR mech games which will work much better with both as well. But you can get one, give it a try and see what you think anyway. But yeah, they work very effectively for certain types of people, I would say, and I've never been a fan. I hate the virtual HOTAS controls in a lot of games. Other people really like them. So your mileage might vary with this product in what kinds of games you want to play and how much those virtual HOTASes really bother you anyway. But yeah, very good product. I'll put a link to the website in the description anyway. Check them out if it's something that you think you might be interested in. But that's it for me for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.